much for coming out tonight. My name is Taylor Gonzalez, and I host a YouTube channel called 50 Shades of Day, and I appreciate you all being here. I am joined by... That is so lit. You guys got to see the Trojan horse from the Odyssey in front, and I get to see Pinocchio here. Like I said, there's a lot of similarities between the two movies.
We're gonna Pinocchio mount the horse later.
I was one margarita away from mounting.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
They used to have a mechanical bull here, and now they have Trojan horse. All right, well, I'm joined by composer Andrew Scott Bell. We have a special effects legend with Todd Masters here. A man of not many words tonight. Pinocchio's here. We got our writer, director, Rhys Frake-Waterfield. You also got to see him come back as Christopher Robin. Give it up for Todd. How's it going? All right, let's start with you, Scott. How's it going so far?
Yeah, good.
All right, so we got to see you come back as Christopher Robin. What was it like for you to get to slip back into that role, and when did you find out you were going to be back as Christopher Robin in this?
Obviously, I'm going to be involved really early, so like when the treatment came around for Rhys, obviously I already knew Christopher had a little tiny cameo, and we actually reused some footage from Winnie the Pooh 2 in this, and you can actually edit all 5 films now into one epic masterpiece. Don't know if anyone would have watched that, but you can edit them all together, and I can cut them, and it will all link. But yeah, and then on the day, yeah, not that fun. Acting and producing, and I don't really enjoy it, but yeah, it was like cool, get your nerds out of film, getting in, and then yeah, what was that?
The last time that you and I got to talk, we talked about how cool that opening sequence is, and you guys filmed it in your living room. Can you tell us a little bit about how you pulled that together?
Yeah, so that was all Rhys. Rhys spent about a year and a half in the edit. Not
wasn't that it?
No, it wasn't that, but like doing so much post and that opening credits, and you have to do that so many times, you shot so many times. It was all handwritten, and that was done over New Year's Eve. So that's why you can see my dogs on the sofa and stuff, because that's just us in New Year's Eve in my flat, and it was just me, Rhys, and Vince the video that did it. So, yeah.
Rhys, how does it feel to have a film that worked so hard on finally be screened in front of a sold-out audience?
Yeah, no, it's really good. The post-production process for this was a lot longer than the other films. So the last one I directed was London 22, but in that you don't have as much kind of cleanup you have to deal with after the editing stage. And this was an absolute nightmare to edit because of having to deal with the puppet. You can imagine every shot you've got people puppeteering him, so you have to try and work around that, and kind of like the continuity and his positioning can be a bit of a nightmare. And when he's moving, every single time the arms kind of doing this, we normally got a bit of scream or something like that. So you have to clean up all of this. So there was about 300 shots which had to get cleaned up with this. So the post time just took so long. And I gave a lot of time to do that opening. So
that's awesome. You know, for people who don't know, some of the puppeteers that worked on this film are also in other films in the Poohniverse. You have Martin Portlock, who plays Peter Pan. You have Louis Samtrey, who is Tigger. What was it like getting to reunite with all these people to bring this puppet to life?
Yeah, it was really cool. Martin was a really good puppeteer in this, and I had no idea he was that good. Yeah, and it's like he just picked it up straight away, and he gave so much life to the Pinocchio himself, because it's so important. If like there's certain shots where I was puppeteering it and using the remote and trying to direct it, and it wasn't very smooth. His mouth movement, because there's about 4 different joysticks you have to use, and one of them is like the up and down of his mouth. There's some of the eyebrows, the cheeks, and I think there was maybe 2 up there. But Martin is able to like just work it so well and make it all when he's talking comes just really like legitimate. So yeah, we're very thankful to bring those guys on, along with obviously Todd and his team too.
Oh.
You were really good puppeteer though. You did it really well. While you were directing, you were puppeteering very well.
Todd, can you tell everybody here about, I think it was like Shitty and Stumpy?
We got a big close-up of Shitty, I think. There's a couple puppets on Geppetto's bench that were kind of our prototypes, and we just decided to mold them just in case, and just literally, I think it was the morning we were packing up to go to UK, we said, oh, we should finish these. we did a couple of these Geppetto bench characters that were Pinocchio prototypes that we started calling Shitty and Crappy, and we had Stunty, and we had Lighty, and we had two Hero Man and a Trunk.
How many different character designs did you guys go through before you landed on what we see right here and on the screen?
I think it was as well over 8. It might have been over a dozen. We kept shipping ideas back and forth. We first started at 2 dimensions, and then we had this great artist named Kiana, who started sculpting these little maquettes about orange size. But eventually she started working in this scale because we had predetermined where his size was going to be, and we just kind of eventually had to dawn, I think, because we started off very asymmetrical looking, and really we thought we wanted an ugly at first, and then we saw kind of a twinkle in the eye of one of her skulls, so it was like, there we go, we gotta go this way. We needed him to start off as an innocent boy, and then transition into this bloody bastard.
Yeah, I think there was something which was quite hard with his designs. There's in his art throughout the film and Pinocchio, there are moments where you sympathise with him, hopefully, and you like him and you're on his side, and then there's other times where he's gone really menacing, and that needed to come across in his design. So he didn't just look really horrific, because then you wouldn't have really connected with him early on in the film. So that's why we kind of went to this hybrid version of him. And something which really helped was the nose, because when he's got a little button nose, he's a lot like Pewter, and you go on his side a lot more, but naturally as he's getting more corrupted throughout the film, and the nose is lengthening, that makes him a lot more sinister, along with the body parts kind of gaining. Yeah.
Well, you guys give it up for Andrew's score. How great was that score? Every entry that you've scored in the Poohniverse, you come up with like these really unique sounds and instruments. You had the beehive violin, you had the Tigger tube, and now what did you bring to this film with that giant wooden instrument?
Yeah, thank you. I actually took it to our Discord server and let them name it. So I think it was Brian that named it the Woodlaphone.
That's a great name.
Yeah, he did a great job. And everyone said, yeah, the Woodlaphone. So we named it the Woodlaphone. But I went out, my studio is 90 minutes north in the mountains, in the Los Padres National Forest. And so I just went out in the woods and, like a madman, picked up random sticks on the ground and knocked them together. So I found ones that were kind of semi-resonant, I didn't want to just get random sticks, but ones that sounded good to begin with. And then I cut them into different lengths and hollowed holes through the sides of them to make them even more resonant. And what the result wasn't quite a marimba in the way that you could play a melody, but each stick has its own different pitch. And from that, you could kind of play this percussive, this beat. But you hear it throughout the whole score. I even used it in some jump scares. I used some cow bones and scraped the whole, as like a prelay to some of the jump scares. I have this idea that a jump scare can't just be loud noises, but has to have a slight lead-in, whether it's like a millisecond of a violin or something, or a scrape on a piano or something, and then a big loud noise. So I use it throughout the score. So thank you for asking.
Well, one of my favorite parts of the score is when there's the pool scene, and it's kind of like a homage to Jaws. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that was Rhys. I mean, I think I tried to do a Jaws thing, but I'm always so worried about getting sued. Here we are at the Hall of Universal. So I was like, I'm gonna do a Jaws thing, but maybe so subtle. And Rhys was like, just lean into it. And I don't think we're gonna get sued. Knock on wood. But yeah, no, his nose sticks up from the pool, and it's just such a great moment. It's been an homage in probably millions of films, the Jaws moment. You just had to do it, but we were able to use like lean into and hint at Jaws, but still have it be like the wood, instruments and the dum 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 dum, like the plucky, Poohniverse type sounds. So hopefully they don't sue us. I don't know. Well,
I think we have some time for some audience questions. So if anyone out there has a question, just raise your hand. Go ahead right here.
Yeah, hi. Was it strictly appearing, or were you also doing stop motion?
So it was all puppeteering in this. There was a hope to do some stop motion stuff early on in the scripting stage. I actually had, in the film, there's a scene where he's playing with those little puppets, you see, and there was meant to be a kind of stop motion scene attached to that. But we kind of were running out of time on budget, so I had to kind of relocate it to other areas. But yeah, all of that, and all you see with his movements is like, there's like rods attached to his arms. So with Pinocchio, he's often almost teleporting. When you watch the film, to see his one spot, and then someone looks back and he's gone, and he's gone somewhere else, or how he's positioned, he's like, for example, the hospital bed, he's on the other side of the hospital bed, so we have puppeteers hiding under the table, and then they can naturally like hold his bottom, move him, and you kind of saw some of the moments at the end, how we kind of like, when he was going down the hospital corridor, we had to like frame out his bottom because someone was on a skateboard sliding in, so it was an absolute nightmare to get him to move. But all puppeteering.
All right, do we have any more questions? Yes, go ahead. Yes.
So, going back to like the Jaws thing, I noticed there was a lot of like Easter eggs and homages to a lot of the classic slashers and horror films from the 80s and 70s, which I noticed that you guys like to do a lot with these retellings. But what I noticed is that there were a lot of elements from the Child's Play reboot, where the doll gets a little more defensive and starts defending Andy in the most sinister ways possible. Are there any other Easter eggs or references or like kind of inspirations that maybe we missed for modern horror Easter eggs or inspirations in there?
Other inspirations. Yeah, like a lot of the, hopefully everyone got a lot of the cricket references. And initially with his design, it was a little bit different to start, but then when Robbie became more, it was like, okay, like, we have to kind of lean into it. It's been so long since we've had a Freddy film, it would just be a bit fun to do there. So there's a few particular moments where it's really heavily inspired, it's got its core out. But then there's one moment which I think gets lost on a lot of people. It's the hat he's got. It's obviously the Freddy hat. But what he's actually wearing is the girl's nipple. So he's cut off her nipple, he's wearing her nipple. But I don't think it was quite coloured right, so a lot of people missed that bit. What else was there? Yeah. There's, yeah, obviously, like, I love puppet films as well, so every kind of doll and puppet film I like watched or lead up, I was really inspired by a lot of it. The concept of like a doll wanting to kind of protect their kind of best friend, it's linked to loads of different doll films. So I mean, Megan is basically that as well, isn't it? Alongside Chucky, so it's a little bit of a trope you see in some of the doll films.
So basically what you're saying is we're going to have some nipple hats to look forward to on the merch side. Yes, go ahead.
So, Rhys.
You've got multiple pages.
So, Rhys, what is one scene you can't wait to see audiences experience in the theater with Pinocchio?
So my favourite scene in this film, you guys actually didn't end up seeing, because we had to put it back a little bit. So it will be on the DVD. It's going to be an unrated version. But essentially, it was the kid Dudley when he got shot. There's a big follow up to that moment, and there's probably about 30-second extension to that bit, which is pretty brutal. we had to pull it back a little bit, but that's actually one of my favourite.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, and Richard Brake was like, no, we have to do this, we have to do it. He was so excited to stand over a kid and shoot him in the face. So that happens, and then when you get shot, he like throws up on his own face and he goes, you bitch, and he like uses his puffer, and then Richard shoots his blows his head off. But it's going to be on the DVD and stuff, it's just we have to do it for ratings, so we have to get rid of it, but it is actually really fun.
Yeah, I really like that bit. There's loads of really fun moments in there. Like I really like the hospital death sequence when he's like pulling the guys in. Like, I know it's all over the top and it's like that wouldn't actually happen, but we kind of lean into that. I kind of wanted to have like play like skin with these people. You've seen me that before when I said really old school horror, and I'm massive fans of old school horror.
Alright, do we have any other questions out here?
Sorry, thanks.
Alright, I think that might be it for questions, but I have one for you guys. So, we know this is all leading up to Poohniverse Monsters Assemble. But you guys, you have assembled quite the crew. As I mentioned, Todd Masters, who is an icon in the field, and then you have Richard Frake to play Geppetto, and you have the iconic Robert Englund, who is Freddy Krueger, and now he is Cricket. What is it like assembling your own A-team to make this film?
Yeah, it's really cool. So one that we've got coming up. So when I was a little kid, the reason I got into films was because of Scream. So I've been a massive fan since I was 7 years old from watching that. And Ghostface, the voice, is actually voicing Rabbit in Winnie the Pooh 3. So he's another one I'm pulling into the world. So you'll Richard, all these cool people. So yeah, we've got some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, like the idea of, like I was saying, we're really massive fans of old school horror, and the idea of the Poohniverse was to try and do something which you can't really get from a studio system. Really, all the IPs like Freddy, Jason, and Chucky are all tied up in separate places, so you never get like full crossover with all those characters. But with what we're doing, that can happen, and you know, we would love to see Freddy, Jason, Chucky, and all of them in a big mashup. But we can do it, and we can bring some of those people in.
Yeah, so it's all coming. We've got Winnie the Pooh 3 next, and then after that it's going to be Poohniverse Monsters Assemble, which is like Avengers of horror.
And I just have to say, it's such a compliment to you guys and ITN. I just have to remind everybody that the first Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey came out 3 years ago. You guys have done all of this in 3 years. I don't know when the last, when Oppenheimer came out, it was like 7 years ago. Like, most people don't make 5 movies in 3 years.
The thing is though, me and ITN, we've been doing 40 films a year, so drilling it down to just doing 2 or 3, it's been like kind of like more chilled. But we've been doing like 40 films a year, so this is like getting easier.
That's what I'm saying, it's just like, it's been incredible. So I think everyone here can say, like, from Winnie the Pooh 1 to this, it's been incredible to watch. And in just 3 years, like, I can't wait for Poohniverse. You guys are doing amazing. Yeah.
Scott, you said it was easy to do smaller amounts, so we're going to double it and 80 next year?
What was it?
80 films
Oh,
next
80
year?
films. Yeah, should we? Yeah.
Just saying yes, 80 films next year. And we'll be here hosting them. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. We really appreciate all the if you guys can do us a favor, if you happen to be like a Letterboxd or Rotten Tomatoes account, a Tinder, a Grindr, an OnlyFans, and please tell everyone, like, go see Pinocchio Unstrung in theaters. It would help us out a lot. Everyone drive safe, stay cool, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.